Hello class, this is lesson 1.3 day 1 for extended algebra 2. Hopefully you have this worksheet in hand before. I do apologize for me to use my stylus to write. I will be zooming in and out frequently to write, so do apologize for that. Go ahead and copy down the formula on top where it says y equals mx plus b. Go ahead and start there. And for that m, I'm going to write right here, m is your slope. So you want to point to the word slope for me, please. And b is the y-intercept. And I'd like you to put y right there for me, please. So my stylus doesn't work. So y-intercept, you're going to start on the y-axis. Okay. For slope, rise of a run. Rise is going to be for a positive slope. I want to put a positive symbol. You're going to go up. And run is to the right. I always go to the right so we don't get mixed up. If the slope is negative, we're going to go down, but to the right still. Okay, and if there's no number on the bottom for any slope, you can always go over to the right one space. Okay, and we're going to do a couple quick sketches of these slopes. Let's sketch first the positive and negative slope. For any positive slope, as long as you're going uphill, uphill, and do remember to put arrows on both ends of your line so it doesn't look like a line segment. For a negative slope, let's go downhill, try to make it straight. Okay, and let's do a quick sketch of what a zero slope and undefined slope looks like. A zero slope is a flat horizontal line. So let's make a flat horizontal line straight across, arrows on both ends. This right here, I'll give you the equation for that one. It looks like it goes up 3 spaces. This is actually the line y equals 3. And please do me a favor on the bottom of that zero slope, write m equals 0. That's supposed to be a 3 right there. For an undefined slope, it's actually a vertical line. So let's go all the way down, straight, 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 vertical line. So imagine if you're skiing. If you ski down a slope that's vertical like that, all you do is scream, go, ah! So there is no slope. So we call that undefined slope. Actually, the equation for this one is quite special as well. So undefined slope. So there's no slope, you write undefined if it's vertical. And the equation for that, for this example, it went to the right 4 spaces. So the equation of that line is actually x equals 4. There's no y at all because it's 0. Okay. Excuse me as I zoom back into our main screen. Go ahead and go to the next page and we'll talk about B, the y-intercept. It says, go ahead and copy down a point 0 B, so if it's 0, 4, you go up 4 spaces on the y-axis where the graph crosses the y-axis. Okay, let's practice identifying slope and y-intercept in the following equations. Excuse me as I zoom again. My stylus works for writing if I zoom in a bit. Right. For these particular, it has to be y equals. I want you to concentrate on the y equals part. If it's y equals, then you can look at slope and y-intercept. The number in front of the x is the slope. So I'm going to underline that so I know my slope is that -2. And that lonely number is 7. So 0 up 7. This is still y equals. So the slope here is 1/4. So 1/4 is my slope. But notice there's nothing here, so it's actually plus nothing. So nothing is a number, it's 0. Excuse me. All right, y equals again. Be careful here. I see my x is here, so the number in front of that x is actually not that -5 at all. It is that 3 right there. I don't know why it's not letting me underline. There you go. So my slope is 3. And that leaves that -5, that -5 as my y-intercept. I'm trying to slide over here. Let me slide. Excuse me for a sec. y-intercept in this one was -5. Okay, and let me scroll in to get the other problem. This one, it is y equal, so I'm okay with looking at for my slope and y-intercept, my m and my b, but I don't notice any x at all. So actually, I'm going to write in that it's 0 times x. So 0 times x is still nothing. So my slope is nothing, which is a number, and y-intercept in this case is that 8 right there. Okay. And we're going to practice graphing these. So we identify the slope, we identify the y-intercept. Let's put this on the graph to see what it looks like. Okay. This one, I already identified it for you, and we're going to put it on the graph together. Actually, I do prefer if you can practice writing your slope as a fraction bar. So this would be 1 divided by 2. I type it like there, so you see a 1/2. The reason why I read like this is a positive slope. So I'm going to go up, 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 and the bottom tells me to move to the right 2 spaces. My y-intercept of -3, so I'm going to start with the point, the coordinate point, 0, -3. I'm going to slide over here. And again, my stylus works so much better if I zoom in, so apologize while I zoom in a little bit. I'll get the hang of these guys in a moment. So I'm going to start down at -3 and make a dot. So 1, 2, 3, let's make a really big dot right there. That wasn't big at all. A big dot right there as our starting point. So that's that B, that y-intercept. And then now from there, don't start over. From there, we're going to use our slope and we're going to count. So these are light marks. So it's up 1 space because it's positive. To the right, 1, 2. Make a nice large dot right there for me, please. Excuse me, I have to zoom in a bit more. Sorry about that. Let's make that nice and large. And then again, the slope was up 1, over to the right 2 spaces. That's our final destination. Make that large. Our nice big dot. It wouldn't let me. Again, up 1 space, to the right 2 spaces. Make a dark mark right there. Now, the more dots you have, the straighter your line. Let's connect it with a straight line. And put arrows on both ends. Okay, excuse me while I zoom back in, and voila, we graphed our line, starting with a y-intercept of -3 and using a slope of up 1 to the right 2, up 1 to the right 2, and got our line. Let's try another problem. Remember, anytime you need to pause the video, please do so, and then continue so that you can look down and copy these examples. You can use these examples on your quizzes and to help you on your homework. Okay, so first identify which one's your slope, which one's your y-intercept, and it's y equals, and I see right here, this is my slope of -3. I'm going to start up on the y-axis, up at +2. Now this one doesn't have a fraction, so anytime you see a number with no fraction, let's stick a +1 right there. And to give me some direction, that's a negative number, so I'm going to start at my y-intercept here. I'm going to make a point on the y-axis. After that, I'm going to count down 3 spaces and to the right 1, and we'll use that pattern to make our line. So let's start with this y-intercept right there. Excuse me while I scroll. Let's go up 2 spaces. Let me double check to make sure I'm right. Yes, up 2 spaces and our slope of -3. So up 2 spaces. This is our starting point. Can you make that large, please? Large dot right there. Okay. And then now our slope is going to go into action. We're going to count down 3 spaces. 1, 2, 3. To the right 1. Let's make that large. And let's do that again. Count 1, 2, 3 down, 1 to the right, and make that a large dot. The more dots you have, the straighter your line. Okay? And let's make a straight line through there. Go ahead and connect and put arrows for me. Arrows on both ends, please. And we have a line. All right, next one. Before I scroll, I want you to flip to the next page and identify which one's the slope and which one's the y-intercept. Go ahead and pause and try first before you peek. All right, this one's a little bit weird. It is y equals, but there's no x. What happened to the x? So this is the invisible x. So I'm going to do plus 0 times x because there was no x there. So it's saying, whoops, the slope is 0. Let's make it a fraction. Let's stick a 1 under there. So it's saying don't go up, don't go down, but we're still going to move over one space. That's okay. That's how we're going to move. Okay, onto the graph we go. Remember, we start on our y-intercept. That's our starting point. So up 5 spaces on the y-axis. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm counting my y-intercept right there. Make that a big dot. Okay, and because it says for me to go up nothing, but to the right one, and then up nothing, and then right one again, and right one again, up nothing, keep going, up nothing into the right one, and voila, it goes sideways only, and we have this perfectly flat horizontal line up 5 spaces. And arrows. We just graph the line y equals 5. If you look at this line, everywhere on this line, the y is up 5 spaces. Let me zoom in real quick so I can draw some dots. Anywhere I choose, even if I choose here, yes, it's left 2, but it's up 5 where y is 5. If I choose a dot way over here, again, it's to the left, but also up 5. And way over here, up 5 again. So all the y's on this line are all y equals 5. It doesn't matter where x is. Okay. All right, let's try a few more. Okay, this one here has a slope. Let's take a look. I have my y equals, but be careful. My slope is right there. It's right in front of the x. Now that negative, a lot of students ask me, do I put the negative top or bottom? Mrs. Lee does prefer put the positive or negative on top. So I'm going to rewrite this as a -5. And my bottom number, I like to always leave that positive. That's why I always go to the right. And since it's a negative number, we're going to go down and to the right. Let's place that y-intercept. That's our starting point right there. Okay, so we're going to start up on the y-axis right here. Start on the y-axis up 6 spaces. That's our starting point. And then we're going to use that slope to find more points to graph. Let me zoom in. Let's start up 6 spaces. Here I am, 6 spaces. Let's start right there. Try to make it large. And from there, don't go back to 0, 0. Don't go back to the origin. We're going to count down 5 spaces and write 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. To the right 3. 1, 2, 3. This is our ending point right here. Can you make that larger for me? Right there. I have to zoom in a bit or else it won't let me. There we go. Let's try this one more time. Down 5 spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. To the right. 1, 2, 3. We found our landing spot. Okay. All right. Let's use a straight edge and connect these and put some arrows. Try your best to touch all the main points and put arrows on them. We have a negative 5, right 3, and yes, we started up on the y, up at 6 spaces. Okay. All right, one very last one, hang in there. We're going to actually write the equation, so we're going to put it back together. So this is graphs for us, and our goal is to go ahead and write the equation for this line. So the two things you will need is the m and the b. So do me a favor, please. My handwriting is quite sloppy with this stylus, but please write y equals mx plus b. If we could identify what the slope is, identify where that y-intercept might be, we could write the equation of this line. So I'm going to start with the y-intercept. If you look at the y-axis, which is right here, I'm going to look straight down this line and see where it crosses, and I can see it crosses right there. That's my B. Can you label that on the graph? Their B is down. Let's count the spaces. 1, 2, 3, 4. I can see it crosses down at -4. So right where that B is, let's put -4 right there. Sorry about the sloppy handwriting. All right, let's count that slope. The slope, when we're going to get to the other point, I need to count up and to the right. So we're going to count how many spaces does it take for me to go up. And I can see it was 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces up. And then to the right here, how many spaces? We're going to count that as well. Oh, it won't let me draw an arrow. Let me zoom in real quick. Let's put that arrow. I want to count that space as well. So ready? Counting space. 1, 2, 3, 4 up. So it's +4 going up. And to the right, 1, 2, 3. So it's 4 up, right 3. So here's our slope. 4 up, so it's a +4, right 3. And we got our slope. We're almost done. Let's put it back into an equation. So we have y equals, and put x right smack dab right big to it because it is a multiplication right there. And we have -4. Voila, we have our equation. It is y equals 4/3 x minus 4. Great job, class. Now try that worksheet for me. There's a few problems for you to identify the slope, identify the y-intercept, and graph. And there's a few problems where you have to go backwards. The line is already there. Identify what that m is, that slope, and that b is, the y-intercept, and you should be all set. Thank you so much.